Alright, hey guys, Mr. Kyle, Myers Mathematics, and this video is going to be done just a tad different because I thought I did, maybe I didn't hit the button right or something. So if you saw me glancing off to the side for a second there, I was making sure that it was recording this, but I posted this last week, and I shot the whole video, or so I thought, but then when I go to post it, I was like, hold on, why is this only 7 seconds long? And I didn't have time to redo it because I had to do something else, and I had something scheduled right after that. So I was like, oh no. So I had to take it down because it was like the 7 second video of me just staring at the camera all awkwardly. But I did do a video last week, I swear, here's the proof, on numbers 7 and 8 using the quadratic formula, Infinite Algebra 1, Kuta software worksheet videos here. And so here's the work for that, but I'll kind of speed run it a little bit. So I'll go ahead and get rid of this. And if you didn't get a chance to look at all of that, of course you can, just rewind the video and pause it and take a look for yourself at all that work. But as far as how to actually get to the answer, you might be able to kind of guess my process here. But basically, I start with what's A, what's B, and what's C. And then I actually like to do the part under the radical, or sometimes it's called the discriminant. I like to do the part under the radical kind of separately because it's like a lot of things are going on under the radical. Not a whole lot's going on outside of the radical. So let's go ahead and check it out. This one is not set equal to 0. It has to be set equal to 0 before you can solve it. So we want to subtract 4 on both sides. Oh, I'm still in blue. Oh, I'll just keep it. I'll use blue for 7 and yellow for 8. Blue and yellow make green. There we go. Works. All right, so 4b squared plus 8b. 7 minus 4 is 3, positive 3. And then that's equal to 0. So now that it's equal to 0, I can identify A, B, and C. A is 4, B is 8, C is 3. Okay, it's important that we do that because if we had tried to set up A, B, and C, we would have thought C was 7. But it cannot be because the quadratic formula assumes that it's set equal to 0. The quadratic formula doesn't work if it's not set equal to 0. It has to be set equal to 0 first. So make sure you do that. Don't be fooled by their trickery. Let's go ahead and plug in our stuff here. So negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. Let's go ahead and do the b squared minus 4ac part first. So I'm going to do b squared minus 4ac. All right? And then I'll plug that in, separately into the formula over here. So 8 squared is 64. 4 times 4 is 16, times 3 is 48, or you could say 4 times 3 is 12, 12 times 4 is 48. Sometimes it's good when you're multiplying multiple numbers, not just 2 numbers, but 3 plus numbers all at once. Sometimes it's good to change the order a second time. It's a great way to double check your mental math to make sure you're doing it right. So if I subtract these, that's going to be a 6 and a 1, so that actually works out pretty well because the square root of that is 4. Very cool. Yeah. All right, so this one's going to have rational answers then. If I get a square root to happen completely here, then I definitely have rational answers. Answers that can be written as fractions. X is equal to negative b. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, which we already simplified all of that. It's 4. So I'm just going to put a 4 there. That is the answer to the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. See how much simpler that is than writing out the whole formula? Okay, so then that's negative 8 plus 4. Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4 over 8, right? 2 times 4. So that's going to be negative a half. All right. And then the other one is going to be negative 8 minus 4, which is going to be negative 12. You're going to add the two negatives together. Still over 8. And both 12 and 8 divide by 4. That one goes in 3 times. That one goes in 2 times. So they're both fractions. But we did say that they were going to be rational answers. A lot of times the factors are nice. They're like, positive or negative whole numbers, or we could call them integers. But if you can take a square root of a number in the quadratic formula, that's how you know that your answers are at least going to be nice fractions. Relatively nice fractions. Just depends. But that's what we get, and we can plug that back in and check. But another way you could do it actually is by factoring. It says to use the quadratic formula, so I'm using the quadratic formula, trying to be good here. But you could actually factor that. 4 times 3 would be 12, and then 12 is 6 times 2, and then you'd have the 6 and the 2 factors adding to 8, so those would be the factors you would use. 6 and 2 would give us factors of 2b plus 3, so that would give us a negative 3 halves, and 2b plus 1, which would give us a negative half. So you could also factor it and do it that way, but that's not for this video. So, I mean, if you want to see factoring like that, where you have a number in front of the b squared, or usually it's an x squared. If you want to see factoring like that, and the kinds of methods that I recommend using for those sorts of things, I have other videos on that in this series on Algebra 1 worksheets, so go check that out as well. I've actually done quite a bit on factoring, because factoring is just one of those topics that's difficult. So without further ado, let's go ahead and round this video out here. We're going to add 10 to both sides. Same reason as what we did on 7. We just needed it to be equal to 0. Minus 7m minus 3 equal to 0. So now it's equal to 0. So now I can see what A, B, and C is. A is 2. B is negative 7. C is negative 3. Okie dokie. I'm actually going to blow this up a little bit here. And that way also I know that I'm not writing on top of where my face is, because I can't really see, like when I'm looking at the thing over here off to the side, I can see where my face is, but not on the actual screen. So, all right, so let's go ahead and do the part under the radical, which is sometimes called the discriminant. B squared minus 4ac. So b squared minus 4ac. All right, what's 7 squared? And notice I said 7 squared because I'm ignoring the negative. Anything that's squared is going to be positive, so that's why I just said 7. Negative 7 or 7 squared would be positive 49. And then that's 4 times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24, or 2 times 3 is 6, times 4 is 24. There's two negatives here, so that's going to be a plus 24. So there we go. 9 and 4 make 3. I'd carry 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I get 73. 73 doesn't simplify because it's odd, doesn't divide by 2. 7 plus 3 is 10, and 10 does not divide by 3, therefore 73 does not divide by 3. It's not going to divide by 4 because it has to at least divide by 2 to divide by 4. It's not going to divide by 5 because it has to end in 5 or 0. It doesn't divide by 6 because it doesn't divide by 2 or 3. It doesn't go into 7 because 70 would be 7 times 10, and then the next one after that would be 77. So it's not going to go into 7 either. 7's a hard one to check. It doesn't go into 8 because it has to at least be even. It doesn't go into 9 because it doesn't go into 3, and so on and so on. It's a prime number, right? So this is actually going to be less work. It's kind of, a little bit of work to see if it simplifies. But even if it had some factors, it has to have square factors specifically. So I would specifically need to divide it by 4 or 9 or 25. And it doesn't divide by any of those numbers. So the radical won't simplify in any meaningful way. So then I just create my little divide here. And x is equal to... Oh, you know what? I did say x on the previous problem. I meant to say b. So I'm using x here, but that's because x is like the standard letter you use. If your teacher is more strict about that kind of thing, just make sure you're using the proper letter. You know your teacher better than I do. So if your teacher wants you to use the letter that they are using in the problem, make sure you're doing that. But I'm just using x because that's like the standard, So when I say x, I mean, in this particular problem, the letter m. So x is equal to negative b. Negative b. Be really careful about that, because if b is negative, then the opposite of that negative would be a positive, right? Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okie dokie. And then that's not going to simplify that much because I can't do anything with that square root, right? So I'm basically done. That's going to be just 7 plus or minus the square root of 73 over 4. And that's as far as I can go with that. And I don't even need to split it into a plus and a minus. There's no point. and splitting it up into a plus and minus, because there's nothing else I can do with that. It's actually better that way. Because, if you split it up, you'd have to say 7 plus the square root of 73 all over 4, comma, 7 minus the square root of 73 all over 4. And that doesn't work out as well. So it is what it is. This answer is not as neat as number 7, but it's actually less work because you don't have to simplify it as much. It doesn't simplify, so you're just stuck writing it like this. So kind of, pros and cons. You get an answer that's maybe ugly, so to speak, but it's less work. So always a positive spin that we try to put on this stuff, right? So that's it for this video, and let me know if I got different answers from what I had at the start of the video. That'd be funny if I just randomly made a mistake after like staring at the correct answers. But let me know. I'll probably double check it after I end this video as well. And yeah, look at the other videos on factoring if you want some help on factoring apart from quadratic formula. There's other videos in this series on that. I have content on my website as well you can go check out. It's at myersmathematics.com. Link in the description below. For instance, I have a PDF that's on the main page called The 5 Math Mistakes Everyone Makes and How to Avoid Them. You can check that out and grab that PDF guide for free on my website. So go check it out, and I'll catch you in the next video. Blessings, y'all.